Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this edition of Tuesday's Tips and Talks. I am Holly Jennings.
And I'm Katie Thomaston.
And we're here at Premier Senior Consultants. And we're just going to take a few minutes just to kind of talk with you about what the process looks like when it comes time for you to find either independent living, assisted living, or memory care for your loved one.
Yeah, so typically when you decide, hey, let's go look at some assisted living, there's so many you pass by going down the road, and all different shapes and sizes. So, I have clients that, you stop in and you say, hey, I'm such and such, I want to look. And you stop at the community, you look around, they get your information, and you spend, sometimes you may spend 30 or 45 minutes going through a tour of the community or listening to them tell you about their community and all of the things that they have to offer, just to find out that it is way out of your price range. That's not in the budget for you. And so you leave and you drive and you go to the next one and you go, okay, this one looks a little bit better. Maybe it's more my price range. And you go in, you look around, you spend the 45 minutes or an hour, and you say, I really don't like this.
Yes. Yes.
And then, that's all the time you have for today. And so you keep going through that process. And, you spend so much time and energy
really
doing this and giving your information. So then you get those sales calls.
Yes.
And there's nothing like sales calls. I know we all love them, but, know.
Yeah, it's hard. And another thing that a lot of people don't think about either that we help with or that they find themselves kind of at roadblocks is, how the community can clinically meet their needs. For instance, if you have a loved one that's on 24-hour oxygen and they can't manage that, there's actually a certain licensure that a community needs in order to be able to care for your loved one, right?
Or if you have diabetes and you take insulin, you have to have insulin injections.
Yes, yes, it's true.
And then the difference too between assisted living and memory care.
Right.
Because just because you have dementia doesn't mean that you can't go to assisted living.
Right.
But there's a time when assisted living really isn't appropriate anymore.
Right.
And it's not the safest. So, you have to juggle that part and figuring that out. And just because a community is great for one thing doesn't mean it's great for the other.
I would agree with that. So, we're just kind of we walked you through a little bit of a scenario that we get people that come to us and that's where they've been. And, we love it when we come alongside you early on versus when you're finally coming to us because you are just overwhelmed and can't figure it out. And they'll say, we didn't know you guys existed and all of that. So it's like, this is hopefully going to help you realize that you don't have to go through that process alone, because what Katie kind of walked you through, if I were to walk you through, then what would that look like instead if you gave us a call? And that would be, you give us a phone call and say, my mom is 95 years old living alone and she no longer can live alone. I don't even know where to begin. So what we do is we walk you through the process. We get a lot of pertinent information. We need to know what her budget is. Do you want her to live near you? And what side of town do you live on? What are her clinical needs, right? All of those things. And then we are able to actually do all the work for you. And even better, it doesn't cost you anything.
And you don't get sales calls.
And we love our community salespeople, and they're doing their job.
Yes.
But at a time, even for them to have to do that, we want to make sure that the ones you're looking at fit in every way. And they appreciate, I know that as well, right?
Yeah, they really do.
Yeah.
And I think the next step too, when you look at the next step of the process, when you do find that community and you say, okay, this is the community, this is it. Now, again, without our help, you go, okay, now I've got to move mom or dad, or I have to move them both. What do I need to take? What do I not need to take? Oh no, I've got to move all this stuff. And then you find out, my gosh, I have to get in touch with the doctor. I have to talk to the doctor. I've got to have this form. I don't even know what this form is.
Right.
So, and it's just, it's a whole nother whirlwind of of energy that you have to put out just trying to find your way and find your footing through this process
Right.
to go to the second stage.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, they don't realize until they're starting. It's not like choosing an apartment or even choosing a home, which even when you do that, you have a realtor and someone that knows what they're doing and guiding you along the way. But there's all those things that Katie mentioned. There's doctor forms that have to be filled out, which we help facilitate that it's on time. You know, your mom or dad may have lived in their same home for 40, 50 years. That is overwhelming. You need someone to help downsize, help move, right? I mean, those are things that we can help kind of do the whole package for you.
Yes.
Yes.
One of the other benefits working with us is we're able to find all those resources and give them to you. So it's not just the let me help you move, or here's moving companies or A, B, or C. Also looking at ways to pay. Right. So when you go, oh my gosh, it's this amount of money, you're like, okay, we'll figure it out. But when we're initially talking to you, taking that call, we find out information and can work with that.
That is a really good point, because there are some resources, again, people don't realize. There's Veterans Aid and Attendance. If your loved one served during certain war periods, they have a very generous benefit that some people don't know about. Yes. Other things we come across is people that took out a long-term care policy. Their kids didn't even realize it, or they're having it sit there. It's like, you paid for it, let's use it, for their good. So long-term care policies can also help pay for senior living. So you're right, there's certain things that we kind of make sure that and have everything covered, and you might be really surprised.
Yeah, you really will. And I think even Medicaid.
Medicaid too.
When we're talking to people, if we see that maybe they have the a certain budget, and then they have the aid and attendance to come alongside, and that can pay for assisted living. But if they're still eligible for Medicaid, we can help point them in the direction for that. So then the aid and attendance is still benefiting, but it's extra money they can have to live off of.
Right.
So whether it's, going to lunch with, a group of ladies in the community that they meet,
Exactly. That's very true. And the last thing I kind of want to touch on too, that a lot of people maybe don't think about is, again, there's some wonderful, beautiful communities, and we love them.
Yes.
But what we do that we take a step further is we are always checking AHCA state inspections, which is the Agency of Healthcare Administration. That is really important, because you can go to a beautiful facility, chandelier in the foyer, but how's their care? Yeah. So another thing, full disclosure, things happen. And we don't ever, hope that we have an issue with a regulatory problem, but we're going to at least screen it for you and let you know how they're looking. And, it's very important to us that we partner with those that have really good inspections. So something else that we also offer.
Yeah, definitely. So, but we go through too. I think we even forgot to touch on, we tour the community with you.
Absolutely. And, good point.
I know there's been times when I've been touring with a client, and I'll ask specific questions that I know my client doesn't know to ask.
Right.
So that, the salesperson there can give them that information so they really have all the facts and information before moving
That's
forward.
A very good point. We do love to tour with you. We want to be there. We want to be in the communities. It's good for us as well. And then there's some, we help a lot of seniors that are homebound and can't drive at all. So we can certainly help them get to places that they wouldn't be able to do if their loved ones live out of state and they're not able to drive. So we definitely do a lot of that as well.
Yeah.
Yes, so good. Well, we just, again, wanted to just take this time to kind of recap, because you've seen us a lot, and we are always, doing our educational series with different partners. But at the same time, we want to remind you how we are here to help you as well. So just keep in mind that our service is of no cost to you. We actually get paid by the communities. That's how we get paid. A lot of people ask us that, so we'd want you to know. And that we're here for any kind of resource that you need. Even if you aren't ready to move yet, we certainly can point you in the right direction.
Yes, definitely. So thank you so much for watching us today. We appreciate it, and I hope you have a blessed rest of your day.
Yes,
Thanks
thank
so
you.
much.
Bye-bye.